The desert breathed like a living beast, winds lashing across the barren wastelands, hurling sand and fury into the stormy skies. Thunder cracked like cannon fire overhead, splitting the heavens with blinding, jagged light. And stitched between the chaos, hidden among the clouds, there moved a shadow, silent, spectral, lethal. The B-2 spirit, America's phantom of the skies, drifted forward, unseen by human eyes, untouched by the fury of nature. Its matte black skin swallowed the light. Its shape melted into the storm, carrying the crushing burden of ultimate deterrence on wings as wide as a cathedral. But tonight, the skies held more than storms. Eyes, cold and calculating, peered through flickering radar screens. Fingers hovered over triggers. Somewhere below, in the hostile dark, hunters were stirring, armed, reckless, desperate to carve their name into history by bringing down the invisible giant. A fatal ambition was about to ignite. Weapons primed and locked, whispered promises of destruction into the electric night. And the spirit, gliding onward with ghostly poise, would soon find itself in the crosshairs of those foolish enough to believe they could catch what was born to be untouchable. Tonight, in the churning black above the desert, the dance of predator and prey was about to begin, and only one would live to see the dawn. For months, the winds of defiance had been rising from the Red Sea's turbulent shores. The Houthis, emboldened by small victories and reckless ambition, had been reaching farther, striking harder, pushing the boundaries of provocation. They fired missiles at merchant ships, loosed drones at military convoys, daring to test the iron will of a sleeping giant. Each shot fired was a whisper of rebellion, but whispers were not enough. They craved a roar. They wanted a prize, something magnificent, something devastating, a trophy to broadcast to the world that they could wound the invincible. Then, a flicker on a radar screen, a distorted shape against the ocean's endless black, mistaken signatures, broken transmissions, patchwork intelligence stitched together with desperation. But in their eyes, it was enough. They believed they had found the unthinkable, a lone B-2 spirit, isolated, unguarded and exposed, a dream within reach, a ghost they thought they could chain to the earth. In their bunkers, fists clenched in triumph, generators roared to life, launch codes were whispered like sacred words. The target was locked, or so they thought. A fatal miscalculation was now hurtling toward destiny, blind, deaf, and utterly doomed. For in this ruthless arena, misreading a shadow for a weakness can be the last mistake you'll ever make. In the barren wastelands, hidden beneath camouflage and concrete, the Houthis' secret base snarled to life. Sirens wailed through the night air. Red warning lights pulsed in frantic rhythm, bathing the bunkers in an ominous glow. In narrow control rooms, radar operators leaned forward, sweat beading on their brows, as flickering screens revealed a phantom shape just beyond the horizon, gliding, silent, magnificent. Mobile missile launchers, iron beasts of destruction, rumbled from underground shelters, grinding into position under the blackened skies. Technicians scrambled like ants, securing cables, fueling engines, loading the weapons of war. Fingers danced across control panels, voices cracked through radios, 100 moving parts, converging on a single purpose: annihilation. Beyond their reach, the B-2 spirit cruised, majestic and unknowing, or so they thought. Barked commands echoed like gunshots in the tight chambers. The surface-to-air missile battery, a towering Viper coiled to strike, locked onto the spectral signature. Systems confirmed. Target locked. No turning back. Countdown began. Heartbeats quickened. A deafening silence swallowed the room, broken only by the relentless pounding of adrenaline against fragile ribs. 5 seconds to launch. 4, 3, 2. In that final breath, the desert itself seemed to hold still, suspended between defiance and doom, between the hunter and the hunted. The desert floor buckled with fire as the missile tore free from its launcher, roaring into the night with a savage hunger. A spear of molten fury, slashing through the black abyss, seeking its invisible prey. For a heartbeat, no more, the Houthis dared to believe. They imagined a world where the invincible could fall. Victory shimmered on the edge of the horizon, close enough to taste, close enough to seize. But the B-2 spirit is no ordinary beast of the sky. It wears the night like armor. It moves through darkness like a phantom of vengeance. In the cold, shadowed cockpit of the spirit, alarms blinked silently. Sensors, sharp as a razor's edge, had already marked the incoming threat. Yet inside, there was no fear, no chaos, only lethal mechanical precision born of endless hours, endless drills, endless preparation for this very moment. The pilots, guardians of an unseen force, moved with chilling calm. No raised voices, no wasted movements. Hands danced over controls with ghostly efficiency. Defensive protocols snapped into place with the certainty of a hammer falling onto anvil. To the untrained eye, the spirit might have seemed defenseless, but in truth, it was already turning the tables, preparing to do what it does best: survive the storm and strike back from the shadows. Like a ghost stitched from smoke and steel, the B-2 spirit banked sharply into the void, slicing through the storm-choked sky with surgical precision. In one fluid, almost supernatural motion, the spirit plunged to a lower altitude, vanishing into the swirling chaos below. Then, a sudden eruption. Flares detonated from the bomber's underbelly, exploding into blinding suns against the endless night. Each flare, a desperate decoy, ripped brilliant scars across the sky, a fiery spectacle designed to lure death away from its true mark. At the same instant, electronic warfare systems awoke with a predatory hum. The air itself seemed to vibrate as the spirit unleashed a blizzard of interference, jamming signals, confusing tracking systems, blinding the enemy's eyes with waves of phantom echoes and false targets. The missile, once a spear of certainty, now became a weapon without a soul, confused, frantic, its guidance systems drowned in noise and light. It wobbled, it hesitated, and then, like a predator losing the scent, it veered wildly off course, spiraling harmlessly into the endless emptiness beyond. Far below, in a bunker thick with the stench of ambition, the premature celebration was already underway. Cheers rose, fists pounded the air, until the screens told the truth, until reality shattered the illusion, until stunned silence swallowed the room whole. They hadn't slain a giant, they had missed a ghost. The spirit didn't just survive, it adapted, with the cold, remorseless precision of a force beyond human reckoning. And now, it was time to answer. Inside the cockpit, under the red glow of battle lights, the pilots moved with surgical certainty. Fingers danced over targeting systems, locking coordinates with a hunter's ruthless calm. Across the digital map, strike points ignited like stars in a midnight sky, each a promise of thunder yet to come. Target acquired, retaliation inevitable. In less than 60 seconds, the desert would remember what it meant to awaken the sleeping giant. Beneath the spirit's silent wings, the payload bay doors yawned open. Precision-guided munitions, silent, unseen assassins, dropped into the void, vanishing without a whisper into the ink-black night. For a heartbeat, there was nothing but the howl of the wind and the hum of engines slicing through darkness. Then, impact. In an instant, the Houthi missile launch site was erased from existence, swallowed by a storm of fire and fury. There was no time to retreat, no time to counter, no second chances. Only the brutal, searing truth, written in ash and flame. They had challenged the wrong enemy and paid the ultimate price. As the first fragile light of dawn stretched its golden fingers across the shattered desert, the echoes of battle faded into silence. Wisps of smoke curled like mourning veils above the ruins, where moments ago, fire had ruled and ambition had died. And above it all, far beyond reach, far beyond retaliation, the spirit sailed homeward, gliding like a phantom across the awakening sky. No trail, no signature, no evidence of the storm it had unleashed. only the thin, ghostly contrails dissolving into the endless blue. For the Houthis, there would be no victory to claim, no wreckage to parade, only the hollow memory of a ghost that came and went like a judgment whispered by the winds. For the world watching beyond the horizon, it was a stark, undeniable reminder. Some forces are so far beyond the grasp of the bold and reckless that even daring to reach for them guarantees destruction. To target the B-2 spirit is to war against the very idea of invisibility, precision, and overwhelming strength. A war no challenger walks away from. This night, the spirit had lived up to every myth it carried. Silent, lethal, unstoppable, an instrument of resolve cloaked in the wings of the unseen, and a force that once unleashed leaves nothing but awe and ashes in its wake. Above a restless world, where shadows creep and danger hides in every fold of the night, there soars an unbreakable force, silent but resolute, unseen but ever watchful. In the skies where few dare to tread, America's warriors carve their dominion, standing as the final barrier between freedom and chaos. The B-2 spirits, guardians of the unseen battlefield, glide in flawless formation, their sleek silhouettes cutting through the heavens with a grace that belies the power they wield. Beneath their canopies, pilots, the quiet sentinels of liberty, steel their nerves and sharpen their focus, ready to unleash the storm when called upon. In their eyes shines the unwavering resolve of a nation that refuses to bow. In their hands rests the promise that, even when the darkness gathers, there will always be those who rise higher, strike harder, and fight longer. If you believe in strength forged through sacrifice, if you stand for resilience against all odds, if you know that peace must sometimes be defended by those willing to disappear into the storm, then this is your place. Hit that like button, subscribe, and share this story with those who refuse to kneel. This is Eagle Takedown.